In today's show, we have another of our popular Dynamite Conspiracies episodes where we discuss the age of disclosure.
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo and I share the stage with my
Hello, audience.
Tayo Boya. Yes, that was him. Hello, my friend who rudely interrupt me. How are you doing? Are you keeping safe and well?
Yeah, what the hell, right? What are you going to do? Hey, Tony?
Don't say hi to me. Say hi to...
I already did. I already did.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to do your little question? Or
My little question.
Anyone listening from anywhere far afield? You haven't got that data, have you?
No, I don't know. No. It wasn't easy. It's not that easy to pick it up because of the way the data is presented. It's not actually that easy to pick it up, which is a shame, really. I could just pick them up randomly, but I really want to pick up people who listen to like our last show or something. But it's not that easy. I'll try again. Anyway, very quick question. I think this is a matter of. I don't know if it's a matter of opinion. This is a matter of opinion. Some people would argue it's a matter of the law.
Oh.
If buying isn't owning, then is piracy actually stealing?
I suppose. Do you want an answer on that?
Not that easy.
Not that I'm a pirate who sails the seas, but I know what you mean by the piracy angle, whether you are actually getting content without passing any funds over to the creator of that content. But the thing is, when you're buying, you don't own it. You're renting, aren't you? You're not affected.
Well, you're supposed, if you buy, in the old days when we bought a CD, it was our CD.
Yes.
Now, if you copy the CD, that was a clear case of piracy.
That's right.
Just clear. But if I'm renting a CD off you and you say it's for me, but I have to keep paying you after I've got it for no other purpose, and you licensed it that way. Do you see?
Well, the point is, yes, I get that. But the idea behind these models is, I mean, we're digressing because that's not the topic.
Well, that's what we always do, isn't it?
But as you brought it up, let's discuss it briefly. The models are sort of giving you more in their eyes. They're saying, well, look, if you subscribe to us, look, you don't only have access to one song, you've got access to millions of songs, if songs is what we're discussing here. So they're offering you more than what you would have done if you just paid for one-to-one transaction. Because let's be honest, if you pay a subscription, you could, in reality, listen to a million songs. You could. I mean, if you had them on 24/7 all the time, you could have song after song after song of all your favorite tracks. So you're getting more for your money. However, the likelihood of that happening and people doing that is very unlikely. But the fact that you've then got a choice, you go, you know what? I can pick any song I want and it'll play for my
That's
one
not what I was
fee.
talking about, though. Think about something more like software. Think of something like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, whatever it's called.
Right,
Adobe,
yes. That's a worse model.
So I'm paying this subscription thing, but once I've paid for it. Then I have to pay for it again. Now, even if you say there are updates to it, make me pay for the updates. And if I pay for the updates, then fine, And if I don't want the updates, then no, I bought. So back in the old days, we just bought the product.
I think there's also an element of security if you're talking about computer software, because the fact that they then can ensure that the update happens and everybody gets it, that's part of the reason for the subscription. So there's a security element there, because if you maintain out-of-date software, you are compromising yourself ultimately. So, because there's even evidence to show that if you don't have any virus checker on your computer and you attach to the internet, within a minute you will be hacked by a bot. So that there are reasons to have software updated on a schedule via subscription. So it's plus and minuses. Anyway,
Yeah, so that's the answer. It's plus and minus is your answer.
Yeah, there's a topic for another day. It's a very good topic, mind you. But I want to get on to today's topic, which is another one of our wonderful Dynamite Conspiracies episodes. And today we're going to discuss the age of disclosure. And what we mean by the disclosure of what, you may be asking? Disclosure of aliens, UFOs, and the ilk. So, Tayo, as this was one of mine, but I wanted you to comment first.
Yes. For once, I'm happy to comment first. In fact, I'm rather disappointed that you told the audience about it, because I've been waiting. You remember every week you say, Tired, you want to take this? And I go, no, it's only, you're better at explaining this than me. And then this time when I'm like, you go ahead and do it.
Why? So, okay, why then? Explain why.
Well, disclosure is a term that is used in a particular sense. I think we all know what disclosure means. It means to reveal something. But in this particular sense, when people talk about disclosure, they're talking about revealing the fact that there is alien life and that Earth and humanity have been visited and are even interacting with alien intelligence. And so when you talk about disclosure, you're talking about an official revelation, the hope for an official revelation when governments of the world finally fess up and say, you know, guys, every time we told you that there weren't any aliens and everything. Oh, sorry about that. Every time we told you that there weren't aliens and anything, we were lying through our teeth. But believe us now, they are. And would you like to meet good old Fred from Beta Juice, whatever it is? Yada yada blah blah blah. It's a stunning fellow. He really knows how to hold his drink. Here he is. Hey! Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of Tony's. Tony and I, we've got our individual. We've got our individual bugbears, the things we don't like, and then we've got our individual passions, the things we do, and aliens are one of Tony's little passions, and it coincidentally and unfortunately for the dynamic, it also happens to be one of my little bugbears, and then I think, what the actual? So you see, where Tony is going to come out in full force and explain to us why disclosure is going to happen at some point, hopefully soon. I'm going to oppose him.
Can I just interrupt? Will you eat your words?
Sorry?
If it is subsequently proven, would you eat your words and say, no, I was wrong?
You can answer that for me. Based on our history together, you can actually honestly answer for me. Would I eat my words? Go on.
You would?
Yeah. Because when you're wrong, you're wrong. There's nothing to argue about. Facts and evidence. Here it is. Here's old Fred from Beetlejuice. What are you going to do? You just say, well, you know what? I really didn't believe it, but it's there.
Okay. So what is it? Actually, let me turn this around slightly. What is it that you find? What you don't believe? What the stories, the limited, I have to put that in quotes, evidence out there. Do you not believe some of the people who have come forward with claims about aliens and extraterrestrial visitations? Do you just disbelieve them outright, and every single one of them is delusional and talking nonsense, when there's so many examples of even children witnessing strange craft landing strange beings coming out of those craft that are definitely not human. So do we then have to be disbelieving and dismissive of claims such as those?
You see, this is a difficult question for me because I'm a facts and evidence man, as you know, as I keep alleging anyway. And of all the stories, all the hundreds and thousands of stories that are out there, there is really only one that puzzles me, and I don't have an answer for it. And that one single story is the one about a supposed landing of an unidentified flying unidentified flying objects in South Africa, just outside, not far from a school during break time.
Yeah.
And it discombobulated the children, and the children were upset by it, but they all gave pretty similar accounts of the incident. So in the same way that I believe in reincarnation because of the stories from children, when I'm faced with a story like this about some kind of foreign aircraft that is weird and that the children are unacquainted with, and they give the same kind of story. I mean, several of them give very similar stories. Then there's a mystery. There's a genuine mystery, and I'll admit it. But it's that level of evidence that I'm looking for. I don't want sly people in the intelligence community who are already super sketchy just because of their background, just because they are in intelligence. I don't want things like that. I want hard data. I want to see radar tracks. I want to see things like this. And if I'm not seeing them, I'm not taking any adults just tell lies all the time for various different reasons. But that's the one that I think needs to be explained. It's, well, what did the children see? That's the one to me that needs an explanation, which I can't offer, and why I leave a little chink, in the window of my mind, so that it's not entirely closed off, but I'm super skeptical. But something happened, and I don't know what.
Yeah, just for the benefit of our listeners that aren't aware of this, you can Google this yourself. Children in Africa.
South Africa.
I think it was South Africa. Maybe not.
No, I know that South Africa was South Africa.
South Africa. Okay.
Where do you think it was?
I thought it was in and around South Africa, but maybe not South Africa itself. Could have been Botswana or something like that. But yeah, in the South African area. And it was over 50 children all witnessed this thing. And it did upset a lot of them. And a lot of them reported seeing the same or very similar thing. A craft, metallic-y, silvery, normal stereotypical UFO type shape that we are popular in the media and we're all familiar with. And they all described this. They felt weird. They saw these strange creatures that descended from the craft, were not human. That's one thing that they pretty much all agreed on. And so that was unexplained because the children were quite traumatized from seeing this thing. So that's one that's certainly in the realms of unexplained, certainly quite credible when you have multiple witnesses. Also, as Tayo has said, it's children. They've got nothing to benefit from telling this story and potentially lying. And I get your point of view, Tayo, regarding people in high places, possibly lying for what, ulterior reasons. But it just seems to me anyway that some of these people are not doing it for financial gain or anything like that. They're doing it because they want the truth to be told, and it shouldn't be hidden in the way that it is, because maybe they have a conscience and they've seen that certain members of their team have been persecuted for trying to tell the truth, or even in some cases even killed, because there's evidence of some people actually ending up in a river, which is a a claim that's been made from a particular film that we'll touch on in a moment, that said that some members of the intelligence community who wanted to divulge what they'd seen have ended up sort of face down in the river, so to speak. So nobody is willing to whistleblow and tell the truth because they know there's a great risk to their lives and they're not prepared to do that. But then equally, there are people who want to divulge the truth, and there's certain key people that have done so. But they're still in fear of their lives because of this information being leaked. Because ultimately, the governments and special areas of the government are afraid of revealing what they've discovered because it's so fantastical that we as a species may struggle to accept that we are the top of the tree, the alpha warrior, etc. There are other beings, possibly far more superior than us, that have been watching over, visiting, and etc., which would put the fear in many people and could actually cause anarchy in society.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Let's be honest. It would depend on how you announce it, I think. If you announce it and said they're revealing themselves now because they're going to attack Earth and kill all of us, then that would cause panic and chaos. But if you said, look, they've been here for 50 years learning how to interact with us, how to live with us, how to get along with us, and they feel that they're ready now to reveal themselves, so there's really nothing to worry about. And as I said before, here's good old Fred from Beetlejuice. And Fred steps up and he's got this gravelly, weird, alien kind of voice, but we can generally make out what he's saying in English or French, whatever language he's chosen to speak. Probably nowadays Mandarin rather than English, but what can you do? So Fred says, well, I guess, there's certain questions, I'm here to answer questions. I think initially it'll be like, where'd you come from? What's your society like? Blah, blah, blah. But as soon as it gets past the broadsheets, the Times of London, the New York Post, the Washington Post, whatever it is, once it gets past those and it gets down to the Sun, the Daily Mail, you're going to start getting questions like, so, how do you guys,
There'll be a million questions.
Soon. It will vary, like in about 3 hours. It'll be okay. Let's cut all that to. How do you, And then Fred says, "Well, like you, we've got two sexes, but we can tell them apart, unlike you. and us, we've got this, just like you." And the people will be like, well, what are we talking about? How long? It all just gets salacious, and then you find out that they're really good at gambling, and then the casino people will be like, would like to actually hire you to do. It's just
it can get really
in
silly.
about 3 months to 6 months to a year. It's just going to be so yesterday's news.
No,
so
really.
there'll be people saying, okay, we want to go as tourists to your planet, and there'll be things like that. It will become very commercialized, especially if it's revealed in the United States of America, of all places. It'll be so commercialized. It'll just be another big giant corporation kind of thing. It's just Elon Musk will just be like, oh, I'm selling $5 trillion worth of shares because I'm in with these people, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. It's not going to call all these excuses about chaos and people rioting. Nah, people will be looking for opportunities because people always look for opportunities.
No, because there's going to be disappointment if you think about it for a lot of people. Who it depends on the aliens. We don't know. They could say, well, there's no such thing as gods.
Well, how would they know?
That would put a real spanner in the works. Well, a lot of people have been brought up, they've been told to follow a particular way by some religious teacher in their faith, only to discover that what they've been practicing is a load of baloney. Because this alien creature, which is far more advanced than us and maybe had some role in developing us as a species, who knows? So where we believed a deity was all powerful outside of the universe, in fact it could have been these creatures that aren't that much different to us, although technologically they are, and they were able to seed our planet, for instance, just throwaway comment, and in so doing we've developed from that. And so then they're the ones responsible for us on this planet, not a deity. So those people that invested their lives in following particular faiths, doing certain customs, for what? They get informed that it was a waste of time. How do you think they'll respond? They're not necessarily going to be exactly too thrilled if they then subsequently discover that what they'd been told all along has been a load of baloney. Especially if they've had family members who've since passed away, being that way and following certain faiths, only to discover it was pointless. Do you see what I mean? It can cause a problem if it's disclosed and people are not really ready for it. Because we touched on this on a previous conversation many moons ago. Maybe it's not our governments that are stopping the information. Maybe it's at the request of whatever alien beings they've made contact with, because maybe they aren't that benevolent. Maybe they are slightly malevolent, and in order to keep the status quo, they want to be able to occasionally grab people, animals, etc. And so the security services from different governments are willing to sort of exchange that.
You're going from topic to
return for
topic to
something
topic.
else.
You started off with one topic, which was about religion and them seeding us, which has got a name for the blooming thing. I can't remember what it's called. There's a technical name for it, where I don't know what it's called. I can't remember now. It's an alternative theory for how we got it. Pangenesis, something is this, where aliens came and seeded us. But as I think people have pointed out, that's a ridiculous theory, because all you're doing is you are substituting aliens with an unknown origin for God with an unknown origin. Ultimately, is where did the aliens come from?
Yeah.
So it just keeps regressing. It doesn't answer anything. So if aliens came and said, "Yeah, we know that your religion is nonsense because blah blah blah," people would just be like, "Well, how the hell do you know? Where did you come from? Who created you?" Still, it's not, I don't believe that that's a serious problem. And if they were wise, as we all know, don't talk politics, don't talk sports, and don't talk about religion. Those are the three things you should never talk about.
Sport
so
you can
wise.
talk about.
Well, have you ever in sports in a Nigerian drinking bar? If you support the wrong club, it can lead to issues. So if you're a Man U and the other person Liverpool, it's not going to be funny, man. It can lead to issues. So don't talk about sports, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. It's just good advice. Or, as I learned when I was uni up in Middlesbrough, just stick to the good old, what do you call it? Stick to this, up the Reds. Sports, up the Reds. Politics, up the Reds. And what's the other one I said? Religion, up the Reds. And we can even go as far as sexual deviation, up the Reds. What the? It's very safe, up the Reds, okay? Now, that's the first thing you said. The second thing, what was the second thing you said?
about
you
maybe the aliens are not
well,
necessarily benevolent.
not benevolent. They are malevolent. They are malevolent. Well,
Malevolent.
yes, so I think it's not what I said.
No, you said it
Malevolent.
in a roundabout way.
Well, yeah, they're not benevolent. They are malevolent. And
I don't think
I
anyone's exclusively one or the other, but yeah, they
well,
may not
if
be
they're
quite.
picking up, if they're picking up rustic Americans and experimenting in untoward ways on their bottoms, if that's the height of their malevolence, it's okay. It's okay with
Is
me.
that okay with you? Is it?
Yeah, it's like, well, bada boom, bada bing, as a friend of mine would say. Well, you never say, but I think of you saying it. So that level, why would they be malevolent and just not take us over? Why not? Why wouldn't they just do that? Anyway, long story short, you want to talk about the film that we're basing all this on.
This is what it's all on. But just to recap very quickly, there was a film recently released called The Age of Disclosure, and it's available on Prime, I believe, and it broke Prime, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
So many people wanted to see it, and the people on there are pretty heavyweight people, to be fair. These are people in government. These are in, even Marco Rubio, who is the current Secretary for, is it Foreign Affairs? No, what is he? The
Secretary of State, they're called, yes.
Secretary of State.
And something, isn't he Tulsi Gabbard's boss also? Isn't he above Tulsi in security?
Pecking order, possibly.
Security. So he's got two really big portfolios to play with.
Yeah. And even he was in this film, and even he said that there are craft, he said this in the film, that there are craft that have been around our facilities and they are not ours. In other words, not ours American, not ours human. That was the implication. And this film does seem to imply that there is an element of secrecy behind the program, and America in themselves have got a bit of a constitutional issue, because many years they've said, is there a secret government within the government? And this film seems to imply that for sure, that a government program referred to as the legacy program is deeply hidden within the realms of government, because not even the CIA director, who is supposed to be head of all things security within the US and offshore, isn't aware of it, because they don't have the need to know status. Because as far as the CIA is concerned, the reason why even the CIA director isn't being kept up to date is because the CIA director is a political figure. They're not somebody who's going to be there a lifer for 10, 20 years, which a normal CIA operative would be, because it's a job. But unfortunately, the position of CIA director is put by the government, and they come and go. So they're not in the need to know basis. And what was revealed during the film is that the team within the CIA, which is actually the Deputy Director of Science and Technology, which is a permanent role, is where they oversee crash retrievals. So they are responsible within the CIA, within the Air Force, also the Department of Energy, and also non-governmental defense contractors. The reason for that is so that these crashed objects, allegedly crashed objects, which has been made out in the film, are then kept by the defense contractors, because they are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act, which only applies to government. Hence why these departments can keep the the information secret and away from everybody else because it's been working and kept away from the actual government, which is accountable to the electorate. And this is part of what this film is explaining, and it has been going on for a number of years. And there've been some recent developments which we'll touch on a bit later in the show. But I want you to sort of comment. What's your view on the claims that were made in the film about this legacy program, first off, which is run by the CIA Deputy Director of Science and Technology?
Okay. Before I talk about that, just to clarify something that I looked up, Marco Rubio is Secretary of State.
Yeah.
He's acting National Security Advisor, appointed in May 2025, and he's acting Archivist of the United States. I don't even know what an Archivist of the United States does. And he was appointed in February 2025. So he holds 3 big offices, important offices anyway. The legacy programs are legacy program or whatever is the cornerstone of the documentary's conspiracy narrative. But apparently, see, here's the thing. The logical impossibility for 3 warring superpowers, the United States, USSR, Russia, and China, to maintain a perfect 80-year-old global secret without a single defector, leaked technical manual or something. Whenever it is to talk about a big conspiracy and it's perfect, it's troubling because 3 people, so 1 person holds a secret, 2 people, the secret is already lost. This is the way I see it. As 3 people, forget about it. So you're asking me to believe that they could hold a secret for 80 years, and then now that people are talking about it, the super government does nothing. People can just freely talk about it, and nothing happens apart from claims. I suppose you're going to say that there are claims. Excuse me. That people have been. Should we say that on a YouTube thingy? That people have been, disposed of. The problem with this disposed of narrative is that, again, it requires me to believe in 3rd or 4th hand hearsay and conspiracy tropes. It's like the entire film was, for me, a masterpiece of a fantastic, almost documentary style X-Files episode. Loads of questions, no satisfactory answer, and everything could be this, or it could be that, or it could be the other, and that's my biggest beef with it. That at the end of the day, I don't have solid evidence of the type, say, the evidence of the children that was documented by newspapers who interviewed the children separately. I mean, they didn't get the children into one room and then all the reporters fired questions at them. The reporters interviewed children, 1 by 1. Yet they all came up with the same story. That's very powerful. It's hard to traduce. But we don't have that sort of thing when we're looking at the so-called evidence in the film. This is my problem. It's all hearsay. It's all speculation. Everything is speculative. There's nothing solid to grab onto and go, this is the smoking gun. Let's start from here.
Well, the point is then that means you then disbelieve everybody.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yeah. Because why not? Where's the evidence? Why would I believe you? Don't forget, I'm the natural skeptic. I don't believe in evolution. I don't believe in all sorts of things because loads of people with white lab coats and doctorates and all sorts of letters behind their names, they say it's true, but you just follow the evidence and you say, I'm very sorry, this is a load of baloney. Same thing here. That, you've got all these impressive... In fact, to me, it counts against them because it looks like a logical fallacy called the appeal to authority. trust me because of who I am. That's not evidence. I don't care who you are. Let me see something. That's the problem.
Do you think, therefore, that they are all lying for what end?
Well, that's actually the fun part of the conspiracy. What's it all about? And well, I've always felt that it's a distraction. It seems to okay, I'm being a little bit naughty here, but I think you'll appreciate this. These sort of things seem to pop up like Greenland, like US taking over Greenland. Yeah? Like disclosure. Whenever anybody talks about the Epstein files, there's always some whenever anybody ever says anything about, hey Trump, what about these Epstein files? All of a sudden, man, there's chaos somewhere.
So
Venezuela,
things, yeah.
the Greenland, the disclosure. It's like, if it just came out on an ordinary Tuesday one day from just like, do you know what? Disclosure is going to happen. Then I'd be like, oh wow. And you look around and there's nothing happening politically. But otherwise the time is just like, yeah, I don't know. That said, I don't know how long it took them to put the film together. Whether they put the film together and they kept it on the back burner until they could release it at an appropriate time. I have no idea about anything like that.
Well, David Grush testified under oath to Congress in July 2023.
Mm-hmm.
This was before Trump. So, yeah, he actually came forward then. So it wasn't a distraction tactic because he'd already come forward then. And there's also some leaked information that they got, physical document called the Wilson-Davis memo. I don't know if you're aware of this. This is a leaked document describing the 1997 meeting where Admiral Thomas Wilson, who was then the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, was allegedly told by defense contractors that he did not have a need to know about the UFO reverse engineering program. So that's a admiral who was denied access to information purely because he wasn't on this need to know list, which includes the President of the United States and the CIA director. They are not on the need to know list, which is plausible deniability.
Okay, so here's the thing: the memo, it's not mentioned by name in the film. It's called the Admiral Wilson Notes, and it is actually not an official government document. It is a 15-page set of personal notes allegedly written by astrophysicist Dr. Eric Davis in 2002. It describes the conversation Davis claims he had with Admiral Thomas Wilson, who claims he was told about a program he couldn't see. That's triple heresy. Triple hearsay. Triple hearsay. So, again, where the documents, man? Just show me the documents.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get the documents because they're covered up, in my opinion. But there are certainly observable things that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's caught on camera, that's caught on radar, the instantaneous acceleration of these craft, hypersonic velocity, low observability. There's transmedium travel, so they can go from the air into the sea and back out again without real affecting the speed in any way. So that is observable. That's been caught on cameras, which are unexplained. They're certainly not technology that we have. And many governments, many nations have witnessed similar things. So you can't poo-poo that as what the heck is it? And when crafts like this maneuver in this way, either silently in this manner, and then land and beings come out, we can't just dismiss it out of hand. Something's happened. What is going on here? And also, we've seen examples of physical evidence where there's been strange cattle mutilations after these craft have been witnessed to be in the area. And that's crazy because that's a physical.
Because you give me too many things to remember to address. So let me start with the second one first. Cattle mutilations. We don't always see UAPs or UFOs or whatever the heck you want to call them. We don't always see them in relation to cattle mutilations. I'm thinking very specifically of the Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Where we find these very odd cases. If people are not aware of the Skinwalker Ranch, that is another really peculiar. I don't even know what the hell is going on over at the Skinwalker Ranch. It's like a Candace Owens conspiracy. It's just burgeons and just at the end of the day, just go. You know what? I give up. When you've sorted it out, come back and tell me. Because every time I come back, it's more spaghetti confetti, man. It's like I don't know. I'm just lost. MK Ultra, Egyptian aircraft, Israeli operator.
Okay.
It's just so. It's Skinwalker Ranch is a bit like that, just like what? It started off with something quite reasonable. Cattle mutilations, UFOs, right, fine. And then it's like missing dimensions and spirals in the sky and demons and just, what?
Well, I don't know about the demons, but certainly weird stuff.
Oh yeah, demonic. That's some people are trying to explain stuff as what is it? It's some kind of demonic infestation or something. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that the cattle mutilations don't always happen. They're not always 100% to do with we saw UFOs and now there's been mutilated cattle or something. Maybe they just missed them, But
they may have missed them, yeah.
Or it's something else because not only in the Skinwalker Ranch, it's all over the world. Not all over the world. Tends to be in more affluent parts of planet Earth, in the West. I've never heard about it being in India where they worship I don't know if they worship cows, they just really respect them.
They respect cows.
I think they just respect cows. Or China, or somewhere like that. So I don't know why it has to be concentrated in a certain continent.
That's a bit of a fallacy on your part. Just because you haven't heard of it means that it hasn't happened there.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard some, yeah. I'm going to quote you some.
No, in China and in India and places like that?
Russia, yeah. I've got some.
Oh, okay, excellent. Okay, well, then I stand to be corrected. Okay. Now, the transmedium travel, which was the first thing you mentioned, here's something you might not realize. The transcript the Agua de la Puerto Rico case as proof of an object entering and exiting water at 74 miles per hour without making a splash. The flaw is that infrared IR cameras don't see objects. They see heat differences. So when an object appears to disappear into the ocean on IR footage, it is often because the object's surface temperature has simply become indistinguishable from the water's temperature. You understand? It didn't actually go into the water.
You sound like one of these paid skeptics, because that's not what any of the official the people that sold that to the military didn't say. Oh, by the way, when anything goes in the water, you won't be able to detect this. I know, buy this infrared camera. It does a great job. Oh, we forgot to tell you, it doesn't do it when it goes in the sea. That is nonsense, because
it didn't go into the sea, is my point.
It did go into the sea. It was visible that you could see it go into the sea.
No, what you saw it disappear. You didn't see it go into the sea. You saw it disappear. If the IR camera can't tell the difference between the sea and the object, it would appear to disappear. Just like you see people on YouTube who've got these sheets of, I don't know what it is, some kind of metallic heat trapping thing or whatever it is at night. Then they put on an infrared camera and they cover themselves with this sheet thing and they disappear. It's just like that. Because the IR can't tell the difference, because their body temperature is hidden from the IR camera, we can't see them anymore.
Yeah, but you're missing a thing. It wasn't just the IR camera that picked this up. It was normal camera as well. So you're using just one type of device and poo-pooing it. It was viewed visually by the pilot, and it was picked up going underneath the surface of the water by the standard camera that was filming it, not just the IR camera. So there were three things that were monitoring this thing, and they observed it going under the water. Maybe the IR camera didn't pick it up, but the other two certainly did. So yeah, maybe there is a deficiency in the IR camera, which you've just explained, but it doesn't poo-poo the other two examples and the other two equipment that saw what was going on there. So
well,
that in itself, you're talking about the Tic Tac, yeah? The one that went under the water and came back out at tremendous speed. What about when they were chasing it and they couldn't keep up with it because it literally turned at a right angle and shot off in a different direction at incredible speed? That was all captured. How do we explain that? That didn't go under the water, but that just showed that this thing had incredible maneuverability. And that's something that humans cannot do.
Well, it's not just me who's poo-pooing it. You would like to know, and I've sent you I can't send the link because it's not linked, unfortunately. But it is the AARO, which is the Advanced Something Yada Yada. What is it? The All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. This is America. Puerto Rico UAP case resolution report. AARO.mil. So I think I'll send that to you as well. So it says, this is the official report. It says that the anomaly is due to what I'm talking about. So it's not conspiracy nuts or anti-conspiracy nuts or paid skeptics. This is an official report. It's an official report from the government.
So you believe this one, but you don't believe the other report.
Well, this one makes sense.
Provided.
This one makes sense. This one explains it because I know how IR cameras work. And it makes more sense than this thing going into water, not creating a splash. Why wouldn't they create a splash? I mean, it was an advanced craft. I mean, physics. I mean, it's displacing water, man. So you displace water. Where did the displaced water go?
Because
I mean, it's a big ask.
Using our technology, we can't do that.
Yeah, well, it's much easier.
do
Occam's razor. I don't need weird technology. I need our technology, IR camera, and how it actually works.
Okay, explain using our technology how these craft go at right angles and just zip off at supersonic speed.
Are these American cameras?
Oh. Right, let me provide you something about Russia, seeing as you distrust a lot of America stuff.
A lot of Russian cameras actually come from America.
Right. Have you heard of the Voronezh incident in 1989 in Russia?
Can you please spell it?
VORO. VORONEZH. This happened in September 1989.
Voronezh.
I don't know how you say it. Voronezh.
EZH.
Yeah. EZH, yes.
Okay.
The Voronezh incident. In September 1989, the official Soviet news agency TASS reported that a UFO landed in a park in the city of Voronezh. Witnesses, including children and police officers, described three-eyed alien creatures and some type of robot, which looked like a robot, exiting the craft. This wasn't a tabloid, this was the mouthpiece of the Soviet state. TASS even stated scientists have confirmed that the identified flying object did indeed land. Also another one, Dalnegorsk Hill 611 crash in 1986, often referred to as the Russian Roswell. A reddish sphere crashed into a hill in Dalnegorsk. Soviet scientists retrieved debris from the site, including fine mesh and small spherical beads. Analysis showed the materials had anomalous properties, such as gold wires that would not melt as expected in high temperatures.
Okay. All right, let me deal with the Voronezh one.
Okay.
This happened in 1989, I believe, yes?
Yep.
Okay. There's a strain of thought, which is just a strain of thought. It's not blazing refutation. It's just a train of thought that glasnost, if you remember, openness, was still a new thing. Soviet media outlets were moving away from rigid state propaganda, and they were trying to find their feet. And one way in which they were finding their feet was with experimenting with sensationalism to sell papers, to sell newspapers, because everybody was financially strapped. The economy was crashing, and the newspaper people had to sell copy. And how do you sell copy? You do what people do: you sensationalize things. So here's other things that happened at the same time, and just in case
But
you think,
even from TASS, which is the official Russian news agency, so we now got to disbelieve them now, do we?
well, of all people on the planet, to suddenly love official Russian news outlets is not going to be you, Tony. Not after
No,
that.
I didn't say love. I never said love or dislove. I'm
Not after the last 5 years when you've been poo-pooing everything that RT has said. So
well, I
I'm not going
believe
to.
TASS, but I don't believe RT. They're different.
But TASS was even freaking weird. What? Anyway, TASS was controlled by. Anyway. So here, what else were they talking about? No, apart from aliens, they were talking about thought bacteria. Bacteria that could alter thoughts on command. Abominable snowmen that were invading from Siberia. They were talking about mysticism and the rise of witchcraft and wizardry and other things. This is all like what TASS was doing at the same time in that general period of time.
So you're doing a whataboutism.
It's much more than whataboutism. I'm doing auxiliary evidence. This is what else they were doing.
So you're
For example,
so in other words, you're now using your evidence to lambast.
It's not what's about.
TASS
It's not what's about. Easy
to say that they are now lying through their teeth. When other times you telling me and sending me information from RT saying that is the truth. So
RT
you
is
either
not
take
TASS.
one side or the other.
RT is not TASS. I'm saying, and I'm giving you an example. The President Putin, as I've said live on air here several times, had RT. He said specifically when he was helping whatever her name is to create RT, he said, "Listen, our weapon is the truth." That's what he said. He said, "Truth is the weapon. Don't lie. Do not mislead, because that's what they are doing, and we don't counter them with our own deceptions. We counter them with the truth." But TASS was not born with that influence. TASS was born in Soviet times, and it was a propaganda piece, just like Voice of America or something.
Dismiss the TASS reports at the time. Okay.
Well,
let's
I think
move
so.
away from Russia now. Let's go to China then. Let me give you some China examples. Hangzhou airport shut down in 2010. This is a major.
Can you please spell?
Yes, HANGZHOU. This was in July the 7th, 2010. Zhoushan Airport in Hangzhou was shut down and 18 flights were diverted after a UAP was detected hovering over the runway. The shutdown was confirmed by airport officials and reported by Global Times and China Daily. Unlike in the US, where such things are denied, Chinese officials admitted an object was there through a final public explanation, a final public explanation remains vague. Now, AI Task Force reports from the South China Morning Post indicate that China's military uses AI to track UAPs because human analysts are overwhelmed by the volume of sightings reported by military and civilian pilots. This in China. So now you can poo-poo that if you want. You're in mute, by the way.
Okay. So just having a quick look at this, and it seems it was actually the test launch of the DF-21 from a nearby facility. So we kind of knew it was. If I actually told you what the hell it was the DF-21. One of these triangular weird things that went into, actually, from 2010. Did you say?
2010.
The DF-21 in 2010.
No.
That's
It's
interesting.
15 years ago.
Yeah, and they just released it recently, didn't they? The DF-21.
Yeah, and that wasn't it. So it wasn't
Anyway,
that.
that's what that. Let me see. DF-21. Oh, it's a missile. 2-stage. That doesn't sound like something that'll be hovering.
No, exactly.
All right, I need to look into this.
Okay.
I mean, it's the old Tony the Knife Fasule sort of. What do they call that? What do they call that thing? You know, is it a short thing that you whack people in the back of the head and you knock them out? What do they call them again? So you get, huh?
Okay, look, okay. How about Brazil? Do you want to know about Brazil? I mean, do you just distrust them or France? No.
Well, the
Distrust
French. Yeah,
France?
come on, man. Anyone who eats that amount of garlic, forget about it, man. What the hell? The Brazilians, okay. I know that in Latin America there's been quite a lot of sightings and everything. All right, let's
actually quite bad ones. Actually, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even the Brazilian government have actually confirmed they met with researchers. They met with researchers, and the program existed. This is part of the secret program to investigate UAPs in the Amazon region of Colares, which is where a lot of activity was happening. And the Brazilian government have actually confirmed they met researchers and noticed that the program existed to do this investigation. And they released hundreds of pages of documents taken by the military personnel there. And the commander of the operation that was based there, called Captain Horiange Hollanda, later gave interviews confirming they tracked massive craft diving into the water and coming back out, transmedium travel as well. So they've seen them too, and they're official documents from that. So these are all examples. I mean, France, I won't mention that, but because you don't believe that one, so I won't mention it.
No, it's not. I don't believe it. I haven't heard it. I mean, I was really just joshing. I mean, eating garlic has nothing to do with your reliability as a witness. Come on, I was joshing. That's no. But anyway, so it's a quick return to the DF-21. Apparently, it's a high altitude missile, 2-stage, and apparently, if you happen to be standing in the right place, you can think of this in your head. That if you see something going up into high altitude, it can appear to hover because you don't actually notice it traveling. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see a glow.
The one that chopped the airport wasn't because it was high up, it was over the runway. So it wasn't high up, it was over the runway. So, yeah, the China one. Yeah.
Well, it does say that it was captured by
it was
radar.
hovering over the runway, so hovering. So it would have been able to be seen at a certain height. Certainly,
Any pictures?
That I don't know, but the report was an official one from the Global Times and the China Daily in China. So yeah, so they would have reported. They wouldn't have.
The official investigations by the Civil Aviation Administration of China (CAAC) and airport officials confirmed that radar caught nothing when the airport was shut down. The shutdown was a precautionary measure based on visual reports from a flight crew preparing to land, not because a physical object was tracked or seen electronically above the tarmac. And that's the official report from China, which you said.
Okay, well that's interesting because then why would they shut the airport if they didn't believe it?
No, it's not that they didn't believe it. They believed it. And anyway, wouldn't you? I mean, you can't not shut the airport. Then there's a plane crash. And then in China, they take these things quite seriously.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, so you're not going to take any chances. You're going to shut the blooming airport down.
Okay, let's go back to the show quickly because I'm mindful of the time here.
Mm-hmm.
what's your view on the on some of these testimonies? Because there was a key legislation in 2025, which was the UAP Disclosure Act, and they also subsequently put a UAP Whistleblower Protection Act. And the reason for that is so that the people who did want to come forward, they were protected. But did you know that those have both been pushed back by the third-party contractors? They've watered down those acts because they don't want certain things to go through. Because part of the act was to force third-party contractors who were outside the government to release any material that they had and made it available to the government. And that's now it's gone against that.
That sounds more to me like people trying to protect their intellectual property than anything else.
If they were, then it wasn't anything to do with intellectual property. It was to do with the fact that they had information that was significant that they didn't want to release to the government.
I think
Why?
Protecting intellectual property.
Hold on. If intellectual property, it doesn't mean you release it to the government and then the government can then use it for their own ends. That's not how it works. You're releasing it to the government just because they're aware and they can see what it is you're doing. And the thing is, those companies have created such a fuss with all the representatives that they pay in the American government that those people that they pay have now didn't vote for this Disclosure Act in its current form. They've had to water it down so it's not doing half the things that they would have intended. So in other words, the contractors they're not compelled to release the information that they have. If there's nothing to hide, what are they doing?
No,
Why don't they then let... Sorry?
They do have something to hide. Intellectual property.
No, intellectual property is a different thing.
They don't want their competitors to know what they're doing. So Raytheon doesn't want Boeing to know what it's doing. Boeing doesn't want
but without
the other
intricate details, they're never going to be able to do what hearsay.
No, it just want to know So if someone is actually working on an anti-gravity thing, and everybody and the other two companies, because there are three big companies on there, Boeing, I don't know, Raytheon, I can't remember the name of the other one, something Rothman Grumman, something.
Yeah, third-party contractors, yeah.
Yes, so those three, if they find out that, oh my gosh, these people are actually working on anti-gravity, they'll probably start pumping money and making themselves into a competitive nuisance. So it's like, we don't want, super secret, nobody knows, we're working on it, and then we'll spring it, and we'll have a 20-year lead on the competition. Not that the competition goes, we didn't realize we were spending that money. It's time we start spending money too, and then your lead evaporates.
They're spending taxpayers' money. And if you're spending taxpayers, they are. You're spending taxpayers' money to do some of these things, then it should be accountable. They should be able to know where it's going.
Sorry, Tony, I have to just tell you that if anybody can charge the taxpayers $800 for a cup holder in the F-35, they don't care about taxpayers' money. They poo on taxpayers' money. They use it to wipe their bum-bums. It's $800 for the cup holder. That's not well, there you are.
Anyway, come on, we've got to the top of the hour now, so I want you to sort of conclude.
This is my favorite part.
The age of disclosure.
Yeah.
Do you think the film has actually increased the chance of disclosure or not?
Not, but not is very terse. A bit doer. It's not my new jovial 2026 way of saying these things. I want to say it properly. Ladies and gentlemen, the age of disclosure is a load of bollocks. Okay, just absolutely, totally pile of poo. Forget about it. I mean, watch it, but watch it like an X-File. Because, hey, this guy did this and that guy did that. But at the end of the day, analyze it seriously. Where's the evidence? Where are the pictures? And stop. And please, the people out there taking pictures, stop taking pictures of the blurry UFOs. Only take pictures of the UFOs that are finely defined. because the UFOs that are blurred, everybody's going to think it's you. You're a crummy cameraman. Don't do it.
Okay, I disagree with Tayo. Obviously, you're going to know that I do. It's because I think there's credible evidence here. There's some really important people here, and they wouldn't be staking their reputation on a whim, which is nonsense. They just wouldn't be doing it. So I know you say, oh, well, someone in authority, why should you trust me? But they're not doing it in this context. They're doing it that, look, we've seen stuff. You know, I'm putting all my career on the line by even coming forward and mentioning this thing. So there's no benefit for them to do it, but they're doing it anyway. And to me, that adds credibility rather than removes it. And some of these people are in key positions, and they may have seen things that you and I would never see or encounter, but they've come forward, and I think they're quite brave in doing it. Whether it becomes disclosure, I don't believe so, even though I want it to happen, because I still think a lot of these contractors and these people in the legacy program have too much power, have too much influence, and they will cut it out and poo-poo it. So I don't think it will actually happen, but that's just my opinion.
Very quickly, one sentence from you, or two maybe. I don't think I do it in one. What the hell happened to Three Eye Atlas?
I sent you a video about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it confused me. So quickly tell the audience.
Well, Three Eye Atlas is a separate thing. NASA did not reveal everything from Three Eye Atlas. They sort of kept quiet about it. But other agencies, notably China, have spotted some weird things happening on Three Eye Atlas, which we will need to look at because we covered it in a show. So yeah, that's
has it gone, or is it still here? What?
Still here. It's
still here,
doing the rounds. Yeah, it's going away, but it's heading towards Mars and places like that again. So yeah.
Okay.
Right. If you've loved this episode, hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexplained twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tayo, and we are the TNT Talk Show, but unfortunately we have reached the end of the show for another week.